Am I the asshole for answering a call from my ex-girlfriend who ghosted me after I cheated on her when she called my sister, but my sister's phone was connected to my car's Bluetooth? For some background, I'm 25, ex-girlfriend is 21, and we were talking about getting engaged. She's a staggeringly perfect woman in every way, shape, and form. Gorgeous, sweet, working on her MBA after graduating summa cum laude with a degree in economics in 2.5 years, and she was madly in love with me. I messed everything up by carrying on a 2-week affair with a girl who worked in the office next to mine. My girlfriend basically walked in on me in a position I could never explain and literally never spoke to me again. She didn't call to get her things, she changed her number, deleted Facebook, and even moved out of her apartment. I assume she moved towns because she moved to be closer to me, and I assume she moved back to the town her graduate program is in. To say that I was devastated is an understatement. I couldn't sleep or breathe on most days. Quit my job to stay in bed, and only now recovering after therapy, lorazepam, and Zoloft. It was the hardest time in my life. Poor guy. So fast forward to this past weekend. My sister needed to borrow my car for a 2-hour drive. My sister and girlfriend were friends, but I assumed they had quit speaking too. My sister and I met at her apartment so I could pick up my car. My sister was inside. All of a sudden I looked down at the display and it was Avery's number. I knew right away what was happening because my phone was out of battery, so I knew she had to be calling my sister, and my car was still connected to her phone via Bluetooth. I couldn't help but answer and instantly tried to apologize for what happened 6 months ago. She didn't say a word. Well, I must have talked for like 5 minutes about all the bad stuff that has happened in my life since she left. How I missed her and would change anything to get her back. She didn't say a word, and I thought she had hung up on me. But she calmly said, "You are an a-hole, and however you got your sister's phone makes you an effing psycho." And then hung up. I cried for like 20 minutes in my sister's driveway and tried to call Avery back using my sister's connected phone about 30 times, but it started going to voicemail, so I assumed she turned it off. After that, I left and drove home and cried for a really long time. After like an hour, all 3 of my sisters and my mom called and told me in so many words what a complete a-hole I had been for answering Avery's call, that I violated my sister's and Avery's privacy and made myself a complete creep in the process. I guess my question is, am I really the a-hole, or did I do what everyone would have done? That's what I think. That just everyone in my in my situation, i.e. having been ghosted and heartbroken with zero contact, would have answered that call. Am I the a-hole here? Having been ghosted and heartbroken. That's my favorite line. Top comment is yes, the a-hole. Majorly. Leave the poor girl alone. You messed up and kept on making the apology about yourself. Good for her for living her life, and your mom and sisters for sticking up for her, and calling you out on your lack of respect. Now twice over, for Avery. Yes, the a-hole. You even tried to make it all about your poor self while you were whining at her through the phone. And OP says, in my defense, I had to leave this part cut out because of the 3,000 character limit. So starting off, I am the a-hole in a lot of ways, but I guess I'm specifically asking about this one incident that was sort of a fluke because it just so happened my sister borrowed my car and had connected her phone to my Bluetooth system. Should I have answered when I saw it was my ex-girlfriend? Does that make me the a-hole? Oh man, he was downvoted 130 times. I'm surprised it's not more. A response to his question, you didn't respect her boundaries by answering. You obviously didn't when you cheated on her, and by clearly thinking that she did something wrong by ghosting you and breaking your heart, you still don't. You broke your heart, not her. Your choice here is whether you accept you have been an a-hole and decide to learn and be a better person, or don't. You cannot if you believe that you have somehow been wronged. Another answer to OP's question? No, you should not have answered because you knew the call wasn't for you. And the last answer for OP? To be fair, for me, you're not the a-hole for answering your sister's phone, but once she hung up on you, you should have left it at that. Another comment to the story? YTA. That was out of line. She didn't call to hear about you. She didn't call to hear a rant about how hard cheating on you has been for you. She was calling your sister and you knew that. Respect her boundaries and leave her alone. YTA. You didn't get ghosted, dude. You stabbed her in the back and she cut off contact with you. You know why it happened. You also knew that call wasn't meant for you, but you put your wants and desires ahead of hers, just like you did with your affair, when you answered your phone, and again each time you called her back. A response to this? Yep, you weren't ghosted. You're having to live with the consequences of your own choices. She didn't owe you anything at all after your affair, quote unquote. YTA. YTA, cheating on someone is bad enough, but calling her back, even once after she made it clear she didn't want to talk to you the first time, let alone 30, makes you a major a-hole. YTA. She's the one that got cheated on, and you're whining like you're the victim. Grow up and be better. YTA. Look at your post. Look at your entire thought process here. From the cheating to the call, it's all, okay, I know I messed up, but here's why I'm so heartbroken, and it's not that bad. Point me to one spot where you give any thought to how your ex felt when she caught you cheating, or how she felt when she called your sister and got ambushed by your 5-minute apology, or how she felt when you called her back 30 times, which is starting to seem like harassment and stalker behavior. If you actually love this woman, you would stop putting your feelings before hers. That is the best answer. YTA, nice to hear about the karma though, thanks. YTA, that's really creepy of you. Ghosted and heartbroken. That's called karma. Am I the a-hole for firing an employee after his parents died? The verdict is the a-hole. I'm the VP of sales at a software company, and one of our sales development reps' parents passed away at the beginning of April. Sadly, they were involved in a car crash, and both lost their lives. Now, the employee in question is a very young 22-year-old guy, and has been with us for about 10 months now. He's a great employee, and we were thinking about promoting him in the next 6 months. His job is a high-paying one for a new grad, about $90K, with commission and base, so we expect a lot from this position. Because of the accident, we let him take 1 month paid leave of absence from work, and he's returned a few weeks ago, and his performance is severely lacking, which is understandable. He's super unmotivated, not cold calling, outreaching to prospects for the last 2 to 3 weeks enough since he's come back. Our whole management team has noticed this, and we decided to let him go because we feel like he'd need months and months to be able to produce again, and we can't wait that long. That is ridiculous. It's just so funny. His parents died, and they fired him, and they were like talking about giving him a promotion in 6 months, and like how good of a job he's doing. We called him into a meeting on Friday afternoon and gave him the bad news. He was very calm and rude about it. He was rude about getting fired because his parents got killed. And they graciously gave him, what, 2 to 3 weeks? No. They were gracious enough to give him 1 month paid leave. Oh man, how amazing they are. Told us to go F ourselves, and got up and went to his desk, grabbed his few things, and left. I thought this was very, very unprofessional and extremely rude. I told my boyfriend about all of this, and he said myself and my management team are a bunch of asses and pricks with no hearts. AITA. I want to know if he broke up with her or him. Update. Holy F, this blew up. I know this was shitty of me now. And I reached out to him to see if he's holding up. He's staying at his girlfriend's place, and she's supporting him a lot right now. I offered to get my headhunter friend in touch with him, and he's ready, and he accepted. What a monster. What a sociopath. Okay, top comments. YTA for firing him without first going through the steps of describing his issues to him and giving him a chance to improve. He's been back only 2 to 3 weeks. It's not about having a heart. It's about making a dumb business decision for both you and him. So much smarter to work with this guy and get him back on track after a temporary setback than to push the eject button and have to find and start over with a new person. Dumb. Seriously, what the actual F? It's been a couple weeks, and you all decide to fire him with no warning. No PIP? Nothing? Not only are you an a-hole, but so is everyone else who is involved in this decision. YTA, generally people receive a warning about their performance before they get fired. You gave him bereavement leave and then fired him immediately after because he wasn't performing. A response to this comment, yeah, something similar happened to me with an injury. I took some time off and they fired me almost immediately after my return because I wasn't performing the standards. Like WTF. If someone takes time off, it's for a reason, and coming back will take some time to adjust. This poor dude was probably still swamped in emails and voicemails, and this inability to show enthusiasm and make cold calls? FOP. Such a ducking asshole. And a very bad manager. YTA, surely this is a shitpost. God, I hope this is a shitpost. When I got the call my great-grandmother had died, I immediately started sobbing. I was told, get back to work or else it'll reflect in your immediate performance review.
AITA for not saying anything about the underwear. People have voted that this person is the a-hole. My 20-year-old daughter and her fiancé are currently staying with us. I love my daughter, but she is very difficult and I can't stand her fiancé. I gave them a deadline to move out because I can't take this anymore. They got into a massive fight the other day while my wife was out. I guess a pair of my wife's underwear got in with their laundry and she thought he was cheating. I think the fact that she immediately jumped to cheating shows how bad their relationship is. She was waving the underwear around. She was waving the underwear around and I recognized them because they had a floral print, but I just let this ridiculous fight go on. My wife came home after about 30 minutes and said they were hers. My wife asked if I didn't realize they were hers and I accidentally laughed. My daughter burst into tears and won't talk to me. Her fiance said we're effed and left the house, but my wife thought it was funny.
They're both monsters.
Alright, one of the top comments says, "You might be the a-hole, but I am living for it." Edit, my personal verdict is YTA, but I'd like to invoke Shitman v. Frickboy, which states that in times of outlandish or otherwise infantile behavior, a-holery may, subject to scrutiny, be permitted.
Swinging my underwear in solidarity.
Swinging my underwear in solidarity. There should be a justified a-hole rating. Lol. ESH, including me because I laughed too. ESH, everyone but the mom. Mom took ownership of the floral panties right away.
But she didn't confess to the cheating.
But she didn't confess to the cheating.
That's hilarious.
NTA, if your first thought is cheating, not the other woman that lives in this house, you've got issues. My sister's undies ended up in my load once. Worse, since I had the same pair, I tried to put them on. She's a size -14 and I'm a size 14, so we're very lucky the universe did not tear in half. NTA, it's not your fight either. Also, it's wild that your daughter would think that her fiance was bringing girls into your house, her own parents, to cheat on and accidentally leave underwear there. That's hilarious and I would have probably laughed too. If I lived with another woman and the same thing happened to me, I feel like I would assume they were hers before anything else. My significant other and I keep our laundry separate and stuff of his still ends up in mine. NTA, you made a great point. If her first instinct is to accuse him of cheating, despite living in a household with another woman, meaning your wife, then they have some major problems that they should definitely work through before getting married. Honestly, it is pretty amusing that you let them write it out on their own without your input. I'd be willing to bet money that she's the one actually cheating, projecting her thoughts and fears onto the one she's cheating on.